Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I am your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. And I have a very, very special guest with me today who has graced us with his presence again. Everybody, I'd like to welcome from CZW, Emil J. Emil, thanks for taking the time out today.
Thanks for inviting me back on your program. And thank you for all the promotion that you do for not only CZW, but also Dojo Wars. Greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, dude. Anything to help spread indie wrestling, as you say.
Yes. The greatest sport in the world, professional wrestling, especially on the level that we're at. Every little bit helps. And like I said, man, we all greatly appreciate it.
No problem. But I want to say one quick thing before we start. She's not listening to this, so she won't yell at me for doing this. Today, I have to wish my mom a very, very happy birthday.
Fantastic. Happy birthday, Mrs. Railroads.
Yeah, she didn't want to go out this evening, so we're gonna go out to eat tomorrow. So that'll be nice. But she won't hear it, so I can get away with it. Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, happy birthday, Mrs. Railroads.
There we go. Now, all right, we're gonna talk about the last Dojo Wars of the year, plus some exciting moments I thought that we had this year at the dojo.
Fantastic. All right. I'm adequately prepared to rock.
I have to say, one of the more shocking ones was actually last night
Oh?
with Electric Emily taking the bad boy Joey Janela's challenge.
Oh man, you know what? Now that you said Electric Emily, like I am kind of upset that Captain Dave was not there. Could you imagine?
Oh, he would have lost his mind.
Oh my God, he would not have been able to stop talking about it. I'm kind of upset now. Oh man, should have called an audible. Like, hey guys, Captain Dave ain't here. We can't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
But hey, that would have been something else. But yeah, I mean, Emily answered the the bad boy open challenge from Joey Janela. Answered it with a spear to start things off with, and then from there, once Trooper Audubon slid into the ring for a near fall, then it was on and popping for about the next 6 minutes or so. Very hotly contested 6 minutes. There were some things that we saw that I don't think anybody was anticipating and seeing out of Miss Emily. Well, we saw Canadian destroyers.
Talk about Emil, one of the more shocking moments because it's really hard to get one over on like hardcore wrestling fans, but none of us saw that coming.
Right, and the thing that's cool about that, at least to me, is the fact that a lot of you guys come every single week, so things can, you guys probably take notice of what has been happening, and you can take that background information and kind of extrapolate it into the future and say, well, knowing this style or what has happened in this promotion, maybe we can tell X, Y, and Z might happen later. But nobody like this. Emily answering the challenge wasn't. Forget it, X, Y, Z. That wasn't A through Z possibility that anybody had in their head. I don't think.
I agree.
And for that to be able to happen, I was like, wow, that was good. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
The loudest I've heard the dojo since I've been going.
Yeah, and there have been some loud moments that have been occurring since you've been coming to the shows. But yeah, that was certainly one of the top reactions. And I said it to you off air, and I said it to her personally quite a few times last night. But I'm very proud of her in the way she was able to handle herself in that environment. Very good stuff.
Oh, definitely. Another one that comes to mind, and just because he's just a crazy motherfucker, is Jimmy at Dojo Wars 100 fighting Schlack in a death match.
After being in a 4-way tag.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, that was another thing where, legitimately I was on the phone, not talking to, but like texting back and forth with Cannonball, and the unfortunate situation that happened during that day with the death in his family. But he was trying to make it here, but it finally got to be about 8 something. And then he's like, I'm going to give it one more time. And then when he said he can't do it, because he wasn't far, he was within probably about like 45 minutes. So if he was able to leave by 8:15, he would have been able to get down there by 9 and go on by the main event, and it would have been fine.
Right.
But given the situation of everything, he finally said, dude, there's no way I'm going to be able to get out of here. And then, I was like, I'll just tell the fans because it was a draw. That's an unfortunate situation. And then Jimmy Lloyd stepped up, and he had no problem doing it. And it was great to see such determination, I guess, out of the young man to give the fans what they wanted. And I think that could be a good segue to get into next week, because an important part of next week's Dojo Wars event on December the 28th, Wednesday night, is going to be Jimmy Lloyd once again in another death match scenario, this time against George Gatton, somebody who was around for a while,
with his gang.
a good long time. And he was seen as one of the faces of Dojo Wars, but a professional opportunity came up for him, and he went to Texas for, his profession outside of the wrestling industry. And, it got to a point where, he was going to be in town for Cage of Death and a mega event, and he, was asking for microphone time. And, I actually responded on my very own Twitter, not from the CZW Dojo Wars Twitter, but I said, hey man, if you want to talk, I there's a few minutes and a microphone I could set aside for you. He never saw it or never wanted to respond to it. And I was like, well, okay, here's me extending this opportunity to him, and then he just didn't take it, and then continued to tweet at CZW Dojo Wars, and I'm like, dude, like, what's going on here? So,
and then barged in during the middle of the mega event.
Well, yeah, because it got to a point where a few days out from Mega Event 3, which is one of our bigger events that we've ever done, he just keeps blasting the Dojo Wars Twitter page with like these incessant tweets, just like, give me my time. And by that point in time, I had finalized everything. We're under time constraints because, I knew we were going to start late because, hey, that's independent wrestling. I knew 2:00 was a lofty goal. I even told,
we always start late.
Yeah, I expressed those concerns to certain other individuals. They're like, oh, no, we'll start on time. We didn't start on time, and I knew that was going to happen. But between that and the fact that Cage of Death was starting a half hour earlier at 7:30 instead of 8, well, it was supposed to. Did we go off at 7:30? No, we didn't. But that's what it was supposed to be. And then, so in order for the matches to happen, in order for our show to go off the way that we wanted it to, we had to specifically time everything out and whatnot and so forth, so that things wouldn't run long and into the setup for Cage of Death and everything like that.
Right.
So once it got to that point, I can't free up any time. And I told him, we told him that. I'm like, listen, like the card has been finalized, everything's been finalized, and he started going even more crazy and everything like that. Kept tweeting us more, and then you know what? It was like, look, we're now within 24 to 36 hours of this event happening. We can't deal with this. We are going to block him because we have we have a goal in mind. We have something that we're working towards, and it's in crunch time right now. We got to tie up these loose ends, and we got to get it going. We don't have time to deal with all these Twitter rantings from George Gatton, unfortunately, especially after I gave him, the green light, which he ignored. Right. I don't know why that happened. And now he's claiming that he felt ignored, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, go back to, I think it was November 28th or 29th. Check it out. I even put it out there. But whatever, he was telling people he wasn't even going to show up now. But then, to his credit, he came from Austin, Texas to Voorhees, New Jersey to get that mic time, whether it was given to him or not. He took the opportunity. He seized the opportunity, and he made that travel from Austin, Texas to Voorhees just to make sure that he was heard. And you know what? Granted, I don't like some of the things that he was saying, and I don't like the way that he treated me and some other members of the Dojo Wars roster. But I will commend the fact that that this issue was so personal to him that he came from across the country to make sure that he was heard. And, he's going to be coming across the country one more time in the same month. He went back to Texas, and now he's coming back from Texas next week to compete in the death match against Jimmy Lloyd, who arguably may be the new face of Dojo Wars. And there could be a professional...
He picked a hell of a fight with the wrong person.
Yeah, and Jimmy Lloyd constantly says, how far will I go? And, I've heard some of the things he was talking about, some implements of destruction that he was planning on bringing into the ring. And some of the things, I had to say, hey, man, let's not do that here. We could face some problems here. But with that being said, it will be a very outrageous match. I'll say that because George Gatton, like I said, he's coming from across the country, and he has a point to prove. So his ambitions are going to be at one level, and then Jimmy Lloyd, he's got to keep his reputation where it's at. Not just keep it where it's at, but he's got to take it to the next level. And every time he competes in one of these kind of matchups, his reputation and stock rises in the world of deathmatch wrestling. So I don't think he's going to take too kindly to George Gatton coming into his turf, into his house now. That's the way he views it. And, having an easy night, it's not going to be an easy night for either one of them. And, you know what? After everything that's been said back and forth between the Dojo Wars official page and George Gatton himself and myself included, I think at the end of it, what we're going to see is a great matchup between two young up-and-coming talents in this profession that are going to put it out all on the line. And, like I said, I might not enjoy everything that George said on the microphone, but when he steps into that ring on December 28th and he competes, some of that respect that I may have lost for George Gatton and the way that this was handled will likely come back, because I respect anybody that does what they do for this profession, especially that sort of match. And we'll just see how it's handled from there. But I'm anticipating a great match between two young guys in their career ready to make a name for themselves. And I've heard from both men that their goal is to get into a tournament of death. So
wow.
Yeah, that's goals for both of them. They both want to be in TOD 2017, and they've said it on Twitter, they've said it to me personally, privately, they've said it publicly, all right, so hey, you want in? Let's see what you guys got. Do it at the dojo. Let's see what's happening with you guys.
I couldn't agree more.
So that's going to be one of the marquee matches next week, obviously.
I bet. And if I remember correctly, the new Medal of Valor champion Blackwater is going to be defending his championship.
Yeah, it's going to be his first defense of the medal as champion of Valor since he won it back on December 10th. And, excuse me.
You sound as good as me.
Yeah, right? Oh, my goodness. These seasons are not fun. This cold season, not good. Caster won a number one contenders matchup at the Mega Event 3 against Ace Austin, a match that was scheduled to be a number one contenders match anyway. Just so happened that the Wednesday before the Mega Event, we had the contract signing between Frankie Picard and Blackwater, and we hadn't picked a name out of the box or anything for Frankie yet. But as soon as Blackwater left without signing his contract, here comes Max Caster and saying, hey, I know I'm in a number one contendership match on Saturday, but I don't feel like waiting. You don't have an opponent. I want to face you. All right. You guys wanted to see it. I let it happen. Unfortunately, when it was looking like Max Caster was going to win, because let's face it, Frankie Picard's defense schedule was absolutely ridiculous. Week in, week out.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 falls matches against anybody and everybody. I mean, we had outsiders, give them a run for money, like Ken Broadway, for example.
Who's a tremendous talent.
Yeah, of course.
We had Ring of Honor guys like Rhett Titus.
Sure. Rhett Titus came on through. We had DJ High challenge him. We had Bear Bronson, Joe Gacy, Mike Orlando at one point in time. Kit Osborne challenge when it was supposed to be Mike Dell, but there was whole shenanigans there. It was just week after week after week. And then, of course, on top of that, with the mind games that Blackwater was playing with him on top of that. So, Frankie had a rough schedule, and it was looking like Max Caster was about to defeat him. And the thing of it is Blackwater and Frankie was going to happen regardless. 3 stages of hell. That was fine, whether the championship was on the line or not. And had Max Caster won the champion of the Medal of Valor, well, then that number one contendership becomes a Medal of Valor match. Because if somebody is fighting for number one contendership, they're already up there in the rankings. So why wouldn't they get that first crack at it?
Right.
That's just the way everything was going to unfold. But Blackwater knew that. Blackwater, he might be weird. He might be eclectic. He might be an enigma, as they used to describe Jeff Hardy. Or maybe they still do. I don't know. But one thing he isn't, he's not dumb. And he knew that in order to get his hands on the Medal of Valor, he had to make sure Frankie Picard kept that Medal of Valor. And he made sure of it. Lights go out. He hits Caster, and boom, Caster's out. Frankie makes a pin, 1, 2, 3, and immediately Blackwater handcuffs him to the ropes. And we all saw what happened there. And I think talking about top moments in Dojo Wars of this year, that scene with Blackwater handcuffing Frankie to the bottom rope and then going over to his young daughter and picking her up and just parading her in front of Frankie and just being very kind of creepy and whatnot. And Frankie was so fired up. He just wanted to get his hands on him. That was a very powerful scene. I felt like very wrought with human emotion. And then from there we saw what happened at the Mega Event. Blackwater won. Max Caster won. So now not only is it just the first defense, but Max Caster, this is a little bit more personal to him than just challenging for a championship, because he could have had the championship, by that time, 3 weeks prior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could be the reigning and defending champion of Valor already if it wasn't for Blackwater and his mind games and everything like that. and the only reason why Blackwater was able to do that because he hadn't signed the contract yet, which stipulated no physical contact between the two parties prior to their matchup on the afternoon of December 10th. So that part of the contract hadn't come into play yet. Frankie had signed his because, he's got nothing to hide or anything like that. Or, he does things by the books. But Blackwater took advantage of the situation, and unfortunately, both Frankie Picard and Max Caster paid the price for that. So coming up just about 6 days from today, we will see Blackwater put his championship on the line for the first time against the gift master, the clothesline Jesus, the Prince of Tweens, can I say his other nickname on the
you're
air?
allowed.
Okay,
we're
okay, the
TDMA.
cuck of cucks, the tweener, Max Caster. So we'll see what happens. If anybody's going to get cucked, or if Blackwater is going to retain.
Caster's going to add the Medal of Valor around his neck as opposed to what he's wearing now.
Yeah, the penis cage, or the cock lock, as I've called it. He can adorn himself in a variety of things around his neck, quite possibly at the end of December 28th. But it's going to be something. Will we see Caster throw Blackwater in the cuck truck and have the shortest reign of the Championship of Valor, or will Blackwater kind of continue and put the dojo in a dark place? You know what I mean? It's
absolutely
very a lot of implications will be felt from this matchup following it. I guess we'll talk about another one of the marquee matches here then.
Yeah, that'd be great.
In a situation that has been brewing for the past it feels like the entire year, but it certainly hasn't been, because these two guys have been going at it back and forth. I'm talking about Josh Adams and Kid Osborne. We've seen a lot of people join the fray. On Josh Adams' side, we've seen Jeff Bravo, we've seen Eric Martin, we've seen Hook Robinson come to the aid of Josh Adams against Kid Osborne and his cronies, his goons. Originally, it was Ryo was one of the first ones that he had to contend with, but Ryo, he's away from the Dojo Wars scene for now. But Kid Osborne, people always say money can't buy you happiness or money can't buy you friends, but I'm pretty sure his dad's trust money is getting him some good backup in the names of Mike Dell and Tahir James.
Yeah.
And they are very loyal to Kid Osborne. They're probably very loyal to those paychecks that Mr. Osborne is cutting on a weekly basis to make sure.
It any better.
Yeah, wow, what a case of entitlement that guy has, Kid Osborne. And it seems like over the course of the past month and a half, maybe 2 months or so, it's just been numbers advantage. It's just been...
He's a coward.
Yeah, he's been sneak attacking him, been using a baseball bat, 3-on-1, 3-on-2, and even when the numbers were... When the odds were even at the mega event, Kid Osborne still took the opportunity to jam a baseball bat at Josh Adams, and I don't think he's worried about winning matches or anything. He just wants to put Josh Adams out of wrestling. I feel like he just wants to beat him down and be done with him. But Josh, as we saw last night, I mean, he's just the aggression has turned all the way up. He's focused. He was definitely tuning up for next week in that match. He's fired up, and watching him against Jamie Senegal last night, it reminded me of watching one of those old 605 TVs with Ron Garvin just treating a a younger, inexperienced wrestler in a very bad way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he just beat Jamie Senegal down. And,
put the boots to him like the old Garvin Stomp.
Yeah, he certainly did, and he was just twisting them up and putting them in these weird positions and just beating them down. And we could tell that Josh is primed up, ready to go. And, he's got 6 more days to train and get himself in that prime physical peak and to get his cardio up. And, the guy goes to the gym on a regular basis. I don't think any of us should be questioning that, honestly, but we know what condition he's going to come to the ring with. We know that Kid Osborne is probably going to come to the ring with his baseball bat, and you know what? That's okay, because it's a no holds barred, no DQ, no count out. The only thing
has to get settled.
Yeah, it has to get settled once and for all. And the only the only requirement that I put on the match is, much like last night, everybody's banned from ringing. I don't want to see Jeff Bravo. I don't want to see Hook Robinson. And I definitely don't want to see Tahir James or Mike Dell, especially those two, because, Bravo and Eric Martin and Hook, they were just trying to, help out a friend in a time of need. But over on the other side, it was just every turn of the corner, they were trying to get the advantage, trying to do the beatdown, everything. So I want it to be a fair, clean fight. I don't want to see any Mike Dell. I don't want to see any Tahir James. I want this issue to be settled, and I want us to go on to the next thing. Because
we were calling them last night because of Tahir James's hair, Kid and Play.
Yeah, I heard that. I mean, he's getting the Odell Beckham taunts. He's getting the Kid and Play. I mean, and you know what? And the thing is, he's such a good athlete, is Tahir James. But it seems like Kid Osborne and Mike Dell were able to weasel their way in there when he was out on injury and say, "Hey, we're the guys that you need to latch yourself onto." And that. To give the devil his due, I mean, that was a good coup for Kid Osborne to do that, because it certainly worked in his favor. Much like Blackwater, he might be underhanded and he might feel entitled, but he's not dumb. That's the thing, man. They're very cunning individuals when it comes to advancing their position or coming up on the positive side of things. It doesn't matter if it's underhanded or not to them. They're going to get the job done. And while I might not like it, I can only hate on it to a point because it's successful.
Hey, yeah, I guess you do what you got to do to win.
Yeah, and I suppose those are the 3 most marquee matches on the docket for next week, but there are some others that I would like to make mention of. Of course, the Joey Janela Bad Boy Open Challenge Series still in effect. He will be with us for 2 more weeks. I don't know who's going to answer the challenge this time.
And I got to tell you, Emil, it's been really fun to watch him just kind of work whoever. Like, he had a phenomenal match with Ace Austin 2 weeks ago. Another, really awesome match last night with Emily. So it's like, who's going to up the ante, so to speak?
Of course. And, I mean, there's going to be a wide variety of names in attendance without matches yet, which I will get into at the conclusion of this little rundown. But the Bad Boy Open Challenge is still going on. And you know what? We got a locker room full of people that would love to have an opportunity against the CZW Wire champions. So we'll just see who answers that challenge. What else I got here that I can divulge at this point? Okay, here we go. 4-way elimination tag match. Why not? Yeah, this is a scoop. So we're going to see the following 4 teams go at it in an elimination 4-way. We have Mike Dell and Tahir James. We have the Storm of Entrails, Dan O'Hare and Schlack. The return of Laszlo Arpad from his injury, his back injury, once again teaming with Ace Austin, that budding tag team on the rise. And because Jimmy is in the death match with George Gatton, Billy has decided to team up with another bit of an underdog in Talpa. So we'll see if they can't get a little something going on together here.
Or as he's known now on Twitter, Emil, Deathmatch Jesus.
Deathmatch Jesus, Billy, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Talpa, by the way.
No, not Talpa.
That's definitely Billy Danvers, the Deathmatch Jesus there. I heard that for the first time just last night at the dojo, and I'm like, wow, that's something different. I like it.
Yeah, we were chanting that at the mega event.
Oh, you know what? With the headphones on, with the headsets, it's a bit difficult for me to hear chants like that unless they're like huge. You know what I mean?
Obnoxiously loud.
Yeah, and like the cameras are like heavily picking it up, or like the camera that we get our audio feed. You know what I mean? It's I can hear some, but some chants I just completely miss out on because, well, number one, the hearing in my left ear isn't really that good, and number two, I have the headset on with that I'm hearing the audio in. So if it's not getting picked up there, then I can't necessarily hear it. But yeah, Deathmatch Jesus, it's quite fitting. So that will be fun in a little four-way elimination tag. You know, I like to throw those in there every time.
Yeah, that should be really fun because Schlack and O'Hare are crazy. Yeah,
definitely. They're off their rocker. And, you know, we got the underdogs and Billy and Talp. We got the popular tag team, the big guy Laszlo, the little guy Ace. I like that dynamic, and they seem to work pretty well together. And then
whatever you want to call Mike Dell and Tahir James.
I mean, yeah, I'll tell you, they're a good combination. I'll tell you what. Like I said about Kit and Blackwater and stuff, like you might not like their tactics, but they're a pretty good tag team, I'd say. If they weren't under the tutelage of Kit Osborne and maybe had a different attitude, I think people would like them a lot more. But just on raw talent alone, from what I've seen, I mean, hey, they're good wrestlers. They're good athletes. They just take the low road sometimes, and it's a bit disappointing.
Very much so.
But you got that. So you got a lot of different capabilities of these teams and elements and whatnot that are going into it. And you know, the tag team scene is heating up, and there might have to be some sort of championship for them coming in 2017. So that would be
fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Dojo Wars came up with some tag team championships in the form of I don't know. I like not having belts. It's a little different, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when the time comes. But it is something I'm taking a look at for the future. Let's see, and then there's one other match I'd like to touch on, and then I guess I'll talk about everything that I've touched on, and then who also will be appearing. Okay. I guess we can do it that way, just as a little recap. And the other match that is signed and ready to go, a rematch, I believe, from the D2 series. I think. Nate Carter and Bear Bronson.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah, I believe that they did as well. I was trying to get my weeks in order there, and I do believe they did have a contest against each other. And I'll tell you what, man, the way those two are built, very similar to each other. Two very strong men, hard hitters. Bear Bronson, man, with those overhand forearm sledges. Those are just ridiculous. Nate Carter with his headbutts.
His buckle bomb.
Yeah, I don't want to discredit the strength of Nate Carter, but I mean, if he's able to get Bear Bronson up there for the buckle bomb, that's an impressive feat of strength.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying it wouldn't be on my list of expectations. But you know what? We've been surprised in a dojo before, and
especially when
maybe
he's going to want to impress for the last event of 2016.
Yeah, certainly. And I've spoken to some of the guys about this on the roster, and I mean, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of 2016 Big Japan Wrestling. I got my hands on a bunch of TV of theirs from this year, and I've just really enjoyed the way that they have. And then they have their little comedy. Then they have their strong style matches. Then they have their death matches. I really like the way that they have structured their cards. And I've talked to some individuals about having more of a strong style type division. Big dudes just beating the hell out of each other. And Nate Carter loves the idea. He's all in. Bear Bronson loves the idea. So we might see a little bit of a dry run, maybe, of a little bit of a strong style division, the strong dojo, as I call it, because over there, Big Japan, they call it strong BJ.
Really?
Which is, it's a bit funny if you have a sophomoric sense of humor like I do. But they call that strong BJ, strong Big Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. Your Daisuke Sekimoto's, your Shuji Ishikawa's, your Ryota Hama's, your Yuki Okabayashi's, Kohei Sato. There's a huge list. There's a good sized division there where it's just dudes going in and hitting each other hard and showing that strong style. And I mean, you want to take a look at kind of what I'm talking about in the confines of the dojo. Go no further than Dojo Wars 100 with DJ Hyde and Ryan Gallione. That's the kind of stuff.
Sorry.
All good. I mean, that matchup. I mean, they went in there and they were hitting each other hard.
They beat the dog shit out of each other.
Hell yeah, man. And
And for those that didn't see that, you could go check it out it's on YouTube at Dojo Wars 1, correct?
Yes, youtube.com/Dojo Wars 1.
Because Ryan Gallione's chest was like mincemeat.
Oh, yeah, and DJ opened himself up with headbutts.
The hard way.
Yeah, he was bleeding based upon ramming his head into the skull of his opponent, and he drew blood from his own forehead. So that tells you how brutal of a style of matchup that was, and that this one between Nate Carter and Bear Bronson may be. So I guess I'll just go in review here. What we've talked about, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 6 matches that are definitely happening. We have that 4-way tag, Mike Dell and Tahir James against Storm of Entrails against Ace Austin, and Laszlo Arpad against Billy Danvers and Tulpa, 4-way elimination. Then we have Nate Carter versus Bear Bronson. We have the Joey Janela Bad Boy Open Challenge Series. We have the no count out, no disqualification, no holds barred. Everybody barred from the ringside area. I might lock that door, actually.
That's a hell of an idea.
I might find out a way if I can put like a chain with a lock around it or something. And I'll warn people and I'll say, listen, once it comes time for this, right after this 4-way tag.
Yeah, there's no in and there's no out.
We're locking that door. There's no in and no out until the conclusion of the match, which, I don't know, but I'm gonna put a warning out there, and say, hey, don't. This door's gonna be locked, so whatever it is you got to do, make sure it's done. So Kid Osborne and Josh Adams will be the principals in that matchup, and of course, defending the championship of Valor for the first time, Blackwater against the tweener and all of his other list of nicknames, Max Caster, and of course the dojo death match between Barely Legal Jimmy Lloyd and the Lebanese rider George Gatton. And
I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, the Lebanese rider. There are a couple of nicknames for George Gatton. That he's got like this sticker, like George Gatton has a posse or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Other individuals appearing on the card. We will have 2 new faces. I do believe I've been. A couple of people reached out to me, or actually a couple people on the roster reached out to me and said, "Hey, like, can you give this guy a shot?" And I said, "Well, if you want to give him a shot, if you think I should give him a shot, you wrestle him." And should that happen, Alexander James will be there. Jamie Senegal will be there. Kid Christian will be in attendance. And Xerox, the door-to-door luchador, will be at Dojo Wars for the first time, I believe. Yeah. So we'll have a few fresh faces. We'll have AJ, or Alexander James, Kid Christian, Jamie Senegal, a few new guys, Xerox, and Maxwell Jacob Feinstein should be making his return to the dojo.
Now, why do you got to punish us with that?
Well, I mean,
I know, I'm just messing with you.
You know, it needs to happen sometimes. So, I mean, yeah, we got a list of guys that are not in matches, and you never know who's in a match already. Might try to challenge Janela. You never know what's going to happen. But the way it's looking on paper, should be good for an 8 or 9 match card to close out the year with on December 28th in Blackwood, New Jersey. That's 110 Harmon Drive, Suite 304. $5 gets you in. And like I said,
there's not a better deal out there for independent wrestling.
For anything, really. I mean, you can't get into a movie, even a matinee, for $5 now.
Nope.
You can barely get yourself a meal for $5. You know, even like with these restaurants that have their like lunch specials, a lot of times they're $6, $7. You know what I mean? Like, there's very few things that you can get for just $5 in 2016 going into 2017. And
that's what I wanted to ask you, Emil. Without divulging too much, what can we expect from the dojo in the new year?
Well, in 2017, going forward into 2017, we would like to have more mega events. The only issue with that is finding a building that's that has the size, that doesn't cost us an arm and a leg, that is open to professional wrestling. There's a lot of buildings out there that just don't want anything to do with professional wrestling. And that's not a slight on anybody that owns a building or anything like that. I get it. But it is it's a bit of a hard thing. That's why a lot of times when you see a new building pop up, it sort of gets like saturated to a degree, where other promoters find out that this building is willing to have wrestling, so they bring their brand of wrestling in, and somebody else brings their brand of wrestling, and this, because it's not hard to find it's not easy to find a building. That's just why that happens. But if we're able to find a building that we can do what we want. And, we're not going to go crazy because, it's still Dojo Wars. I'd rather do the crazy stuff in the confines of our dojo where it's our building and,
Yeah.
Cleaning up isn't of like if we miss something at the dojo, okay, we can go clean it up tomorrow.
Yeah, I know
But
exactly what you mean.
if we're in this other building and we, God forbid, we forget to clean something up, then we might not be able to run there again. You know what I mean? So it's just a situation like that. But we are looking
I
at.
want to tell you this real quick, Emil.
Sure.
My good friend that's in our chat room, Lance from Canada, said you can't even buy a beer for $5 here.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, a lot of times you go out to the bar, and sometimes you're paying $5-6 per beer, depending on what bar you go to. Geez, I don't even think. Like, what's like the? Can you even get like a 6-pack of crappy beer for $5?
No.
I mean, I know that I get my 6-packs of PBR for $6.20. So, yeah, I mean, I don't even think you can get a like MGD or whatever for $5.
No.
After tax and everything like that. So, I mean, it might be like 5 and change or whatever, but still, the fact remains that it's over $5. So that's one thing. We're looking at doing more mega events, and should that happen, then the Wednesday shows might look a little bit different. They would have to get designed a little bit differently, but you know, we'll conquer that when that happens. Yeah, and perhaps tag team championship. I'm really looking on doing perhaps more of. Setting things up like that, like little strong style division, maybe like maybe creating other divisions within Dojo Wars, maybe not having like specific championships for them, but just saying like, okay, this will be this style matchup, and that way like if it is, for example, maybe Ryan Gallione versus DJ Hyde in a rematch. Okay, you know what kind of match it's going to be. Like, it's going to be like one of those kinds. But then it leaves it open-ended where it might not be big guys. It might be, for instance, I don't know. I'm looking at like the roster of guys. Maybe we might find ourselves in a scenario where Josh Adams and I don't know, like Alexander James. I just picked 2 names at random in a strong style kind of matchup. You know what I mean? Like
barely legal Jimmy Lloyd.
Yeah. I mean, how far will I go? He says. You never know. And I would like to continue our working relationships with other schools and companies in the area, like House of Glory. I just started talking with the owner and promoter of Tier 1 Wrestling based out of New York. He would like to have a title match on a future Dojo Wars show featuring his new champion, the richest prize in wrestling, Mr. Darius Carter, who has been on Dojo Wars. Yeah, I mean, he's been at Dojo Wars 2 times before, and so he's no stranger to the crowd. And it would be interesting to have a championship match from another company on our show. Guys like Anthony Gangone and Ken Broadway came in with their championships, but those weren't on the line because they were challenging for our championship. I didn't want to make it a title for title.
I have to say, Ken Broadway, and this isn't a knock, probably have the most gaudy championship I've ever seen.
And you know what? It looks great on him.
Yeah.
Because of his size, the fact of his skin complexion and the color of the championship belt makes it pop.
It just works.
And it works. And the size of it, the amount of jewels put into it really fits his cash flow, money making Manhattan. You know what I mean? Like it looks like something of his stature financially would want to have. You know what I mean? He would want to have the biggest, gaudiest,
absolutely,
showiest belt. Yeah. But I say that to say this. I didn't want to have it title for title, and potentially getting mired in the whole like, well, okay, well now somebody has two belts, and you know what I mean. I don't want to.
Now what?
Exactly. I didn't want to, muddy the waters, as it were. But other things that I am looking at, people from areas that you wouldn't expect are going to be coming in soon. I have a contingent from the Midwest area, different from Dale Patrick's and Josh Crane and whatnot. Not the same cast and crew. A different cast from the same area, though. Some guys starting to get a little bit of buzz have reached out to me. Guys like Cole Radrick, Mance Warner, and Brother Reed specifically.
That would be very interesting.
Yes. So they're looking at coming up at some point in January. So the thing is, I'd like to continue having these relationships with other companies, no matter who they are. H2O. If we can, a lot.
I look at it like this, Emil. It can't hurt either promotion. Any business is good business.
Right. That's what I feel. As long as us working with you isn't going to make us, look bad, and I hate to sound like elitist or anything like that, but let's face it, in independent wrestling, there's tiers to this thing. And, there's some people that are on the way lower level, and there's some promotions that are considerably higher. Dojo Wars by itself as a brand, not even as an extension of CZW, I fully believe is like a mid-tier type promotion.
It generates its own buzz now.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the biggest thing in the world, and I know that. We all know that. But we're certainly not the smallest thing in the world. And, granted, sometimes the crowds might not be as big as we'd like them to be, but that's based upon the fact that we can't really formally advertise and the day of the week.
For not being able to do that, you're doing quite well for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, this is all word of mouth and internet buzz. Like we can't go out there and put flyers out and everything like that because of certain things. But I mean, we're doing it, and people are showing up, and people are watching us online all over the world. So I haven't looked at the analytics of the YouTube page in quite some time. Because for a while there, when it was new, I was kind of looking at it every day. And when numbers weren't getting to the point where I thought they could be or should be or where I wanted them to be, it was kind of depressing. But then I realized that this is a truly grassroots kind of thing, and it's going to be a slow process, but worth it. But when I was looking at those analytics, even back then, I was noticing 10% of our total views were coming from I should rephrase that. Only about half of the views of our videos were domestic. The other 50% were international, and some of those were 10%. Would be in a foreign country. Another 8% would be in another foreign country, and then they just all added up to approximately 50%. So that was cool to me. That we were getting a decent percentage of viewers from other places, and like you said, you had somebody in the chat room from Canada. That just proves it. You know what I mean? People are listening to this in other countries. And watching it in other countries, so it's a cool thing. But there's a lot of places that are kind of rinky-dink, and they don't have a lot of outstanding talent. But there's a whole lot of other places like Tier 1, like House of Glory, like IWA Mid-South, or the Mid-Atlantic regions, the Ohio area, Guys want to come in and do this. It's just a cool thing to see, and I don't mind working with anybody so long as it's beneficial to all parties involved. You understand?
And it basically helps both parties grow.
Exactly. For continued growth between all parties involved. I'm just saying, just don't be like one step above backyard and expect to team up with Dojo Wars, and don't expect to come to us and say like, hey, like we want to work together. Well, that raises your stock, but what does it do for us? You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate to have to think like that, but like we
at the end of the day, it's about making money.
Right, of course, and there's a lot of guys that are hitting me up. For example, Yuma, who has been on the last two CZW shows, he said, he comes from California, and he says, one of these times I'd like to fly in early and do a Dojo Wars show, just to.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because he wants to help out the younger talent, and anybody who wants to help out younger talent who's established. I mean, look at Joe Gacy. He was in the main event scene, brand new CZW World Champion, was coming to Dojo Wars wrestling to keep his game sharp. Alexander James has been on the main roster for a long time, coming down and doing things. Joey Janela, current Wire champion, coming in because they want to. I'm not asking any of these guys to come in. Devin Moore, over the summer, hit me up. He said, hey, man, I want to do a Dojo Wars. I said, perfect. Cool, man. Show up. I'd love to have you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's why, like, I haven't told this on air, but I've sent out feelers to other organizations through our show to kind of be like, hey, we're looking to really grow in 17. Why don't we grow with you? Because it's beneficial on both ends.
Exactly. And I just got a bit of news here, hot off the press.
Breaking news
here as it relates to December 28th here. George Gatton and Jimmy Lloyd in the death match. The stipulation has been finalized here. This is a hot scoop. Fans bring the weapons.
Oh, wow.
So get to work, guys.
I'll once we're done this and off the air, I'll post that on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, please. Let's get the word out there because we have a week pretty much to get some weapons made. So hopefully we get a good turnout with it being the holiday season. People looking for something to do. People off of work, kids off of school. Let's see if we can pack that place. I would like to see it at Dojo Wars 100 levels, but that might be lofty. But it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Absolutely not.
I would like to see it as full as possibly can. But I'll be happy with the turnout regardless. Anybody who shows up will be more than happy to give a great show to, as we do on a weekly basis. So those are my goals pretty much for 2017. Keep diversifying these cards. I think the cards have been getting a little bit more diverse as time has been going on in terms of different match types and stipulations and whatnot. These bigger scrambles and four-way tags or three-way tags or whatever. I'd like to continue playing around with that. Continuing to hook up with these companies in the area and doing good business with them. Perhaps tag team championships, more mega events, absolutely, and just continuing to give people the best bang for their $5 buck. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, you're not going to get a better. You're not going to get a better live professional wrestling experience anywhere in the country for $5.
Yeah,
you're just not going to.
We don't use Sports Entertainer. It's fucking pro wrestling.
Professional wrestling, yes, that's what it's all about.
Now, I want to, before we jump out of here, Emil.
One more thing.
Oh,
one more thing. I'm sorry. Looking into 2017, this has kind of been. I've kind of been building momentum for this for a little while, and it's piggybacking off of what you said. It's professional wrestling. I feel like in the modern era, there's a lot less actual wrestling in professional wrestling. Yes, there's a lot of running and jumping and striking and moves and whatnot. There's a lot of that, but there's not as much wrestling as there used to be. I would like to have more wrestling, because when I go back and I watch these old TV shows or arena tapes, I notice that these guys are just spending time working holds, and really eliciting a reaction.
The one,
and I think,
Emil, that always sticks out to me when I was a kid, if you want to go back and watch actual wrestling, is go watch a Rick Steamboat Ric Flair match.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Whew. Absolutely. By far. And the thing is now, especially with what we see on TV, you don't see a lot of wrestling on TV these days either.
No.
A lot of times the bell rings and it's just right into fisticuffs and whatnot and what have you.
Or as
a lot of times,
some people would say, flippy moves.
Yeah, I mean, which is all well and good, but let's not forget there's a place in wrestling for almost everything.
Oh,
I'd
God,
say.
Yeah.
But I would like to see us put more of an emphasis on the actual catch as catch can classic professional wrestling style, because there's not a lot of places doing that, and I feel like that's another place we can carve a niche. And I'm not saying the whole card is going to be this and that. I'm saying
a match here and there.
Yeah, sort of like the division idea that I had. Okay, this is going to, this is going to be more of a wrestling match, and that's going to be more of a hard-hitting, strong style match. This might be more of an aerial sort of match. But then, here's a beautiful thing. Then we can have what I might call like a, how they have like a catch weight in fighting,
yes,
or like a open weight division. Like I could have a styles clash match where I take a strong style guy and I put him against a wrestler, or I take a wrestler and put him against a deathmatch guy, or I take a high. You know what I mean? And then that way, once it becomes, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's on the tip of my tongue. Well, once it becomes established, once it becomes established that who's doing what in what division, sort of. And I think this would also help the fact that I have an enormous roster. If I say, okay, I'm looking to have two of these, I have a list of like 10 to 12 guys in each thing. All right, this week I'm going to pick this guy and this guy. And then have it like a revolving door type thing, if I can. I don't know. I'm kind of just spitballing here. I'm kind of just brainstorming live in the air. But it's something that we can do, something that we can play with. Have these different little divisions. And then when the time comes, we say, okay, we're going to take this guy from this division, put him against this guy from that division, see what happens. I don't know, maybe make something cool out of it. Yeah, exactly. And I would like to, things have been getting a bit outrageous in terms of chaos breaking out in the dojo. I would like to see maybe more strict guidelines for the referees to follow, something like that. I don't know, maybe just kind of control the chaos a little bit more. And then that way, should things get a little bit more chaotic down the line, it will look even more chaotic down the. You know what I mean? If say for example, if I'm going to use like a real world analogy here, at school, Okay, sometimes when I was growing up, sometimes things would get a little bit out of hand in terms of what kids were bringing to school with them. And I don't mean violent weapons. I mean they would. I know like rubber bands were big in my school, in my grade school, for a time, and kids would just be like flinging rubber bands at each other all day long.
Yeah.
And then finally, that got banned or whatever. But then somebody brought in this huge bag of rubber bands a couple weeks later, and it was just warfare. You know what I mean? So okay, so we controlled the chaos. Okay, it's not going on. But then somebody did something even bigger. You know what I mean? And then it was just wild. You know what I mean? So it's a situation like that I can use in a wrestling kind of way. I don't know.
Exactly
and then
what you mean.
And then I'd like to see the D2 series come back. That was a lot of fun to watch play out, and it kind of made my job easy because I just had to make matches for 10 weeks at a time, and I did that at one clip, and then I didn't have to worry about planning anything for 2.5 months. So that was cool. So kind of stuff like that, and I don't know. I'm just gonna keep watching keep watching wrestling, and keep kind of looking at old ideas and modernizing them to a current day viewer. And I don't know. It's going to be a lot. I don't want to say more of the same, but we're going to continue doing what we've been doing. We're just going to keep capitalizing on the momentum that we've been building, and hopefully take us a few steps higher in the game of independent professional wrestling. So those are my very long-winded goals for 2017 as it pertains to Dojo Wars.
No, it's good. That's actually, I like every single one of them. You know what I mean? How do I want to say it? You have nowhere to go but up.
Right. Yeah. I'm not looking at taking a back step. I'm only looking at going forward, and as you can see, I have a lot of ideas. It's just getting them, narrowing them down, and fine-tuning them, and seeing how, when, and where I can put all of them into place.
No, I hear you. It's a process. All right, now, excuse me, before we get out of here, how can people contact you on social media if they wish to do so?
There's a few where. Yikes. What is this? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It just so happened I got a message on one of my social media things right now. So that was funny. How ironic, yes. But essentially, the way that you can get a hold of me is Facebook or Twitter would be the best. Both of them, I believe, are MLJ. I believe that's my Facebook, Facebook.com. The MLJ, maybe, I don't know. That could be wrong. But if you search MLJ, EMILJAY on Facebook, I should be the first guy that pops up with a nice little illustration drawn of me.
Which is fantastic, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Memphis Wrestling History on Twitter hooked that up. He's the guy that does the drawings for the Phil Singer games. He just happened to...
Cool.
Yeah, he just happened to do I didn't ask for it or anything. He just made a doodle of me, and it was awesome.
So shout out
good
to
guy.
him.
Yeah, good, very good guy. That whole group of people from the Phil Singer games, awesome people. I just wish I had more time to get into their card game, because when I played it at the fest I went to in Ohio in August of 2015, I had a lot of fun playing the game, but it comes to be a thing where here where it's hard enough to find a pro wrestling fan in my hometown, let alone a pro wrestling fan that would want to play a card game, a card and dice game about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's tough. And then I mean, I wish there were people because I'd love to play it and I'd love to have the time to. But the situation being as it is,
and you're a busy man.
Yeah, and so. Wow, I got off on a tangent there. Basically, I like Phil Singer games. Support them, please. They do good work. Their game is fun.
Is there anything else you have to shill out before we get out of here?
Yeah, I got to finish my actual plugs. MLJ on Facebook. Hit me up. Shoot me a message on there. I'm very active on there. And then on Twitter, at the MLJ. I'm very active on there. And I'm not afraid to talk to the fans or anything like that because let's not forget, first and foremost, who and what I am, and that is a fan of professional wrestling. And also the CZW Dojo Wars Twitter page, at CZW Dojo Wars. There is also there's another one, at Dojo Wars. Do not follow that one. That is not the official Twitter. We made a new one some time ago. Yeah, so make sure you follow. Yeah, that's the old one. Make sure there were password issues and everything like that. It got out of hand, so I had to make a new one. So make sure you're following the correct one, at CZW Dojo Wars, to follow us on Twitter. That's where most of our match announcements and everything get made. And other than that, I believe that's it. Make sure you hit up czwrestling.com. Make sure you hit up CZW. Oh, excuse me. Make sure you check out the award-winning CZW Studios. czwstudios.com. And everything CZW related. Shopczw.com. If you're doing any last-minute shopping on Amazon.com, use our Amazon portal, bit.ly/combat zone. That's our Amazon portal. It costs nothing extra to you, but we get a little bit of support from Amazon as a referral link to anybody that purchases anything through our referral link. That is bit.ly/combat zone. Let's see. Any other shills that I have? Anything coming up? Yes, this Friday is H2O, Hardcore Hustle Organization, with a Christmas Classic, a 7-match card at the CZW Dojo. That's 110 Harmon Drive, Suite 304, Blackwood, New Jersey. That is, I believe, all sold out. There might be a few tickets.
Maybe.
I know the other day he said there were 5 tickets available. It was sold out. I don't know if it was 5 more seats that were added or just 5 people that said, hey, we can't make it due to certain things. But if you're interested in that, contact Matt Tremont on social media, on Facebook. Shoot him a message, see if it's available, or check his status update. He might have had something to say about that today that I haven't had a chance to check out. And also remember that address because we don't take any weeks off. It's going to be Dojo Wars 107. We're right back at the CZW WSU Wrestling Academy, 110 Harmon Drive, Suite 304. Tickets are only $5 admission. And like I said, we're looking at a 8 or 9 match card. We got a 4-way elimination tag. We got a strong style match. We got a Joey Janela Open Challenge. We got a no holds barred not false count anywhere. I'm sorry. I got
no hold barred, no DQ, no count out.
Yeah, and everybody barred from ringside. Josh Adams, Kid Osborne. We got a Fans Bring the Weapon death match. Jimmy Lloyd and George Gatton. We got a 2 out of 3 falls championship defense between Blackwater and Castor. And then we have new faces coming in and some some old favorites being there as well. So it's going to be a good mix, a good night, and for only $5, what more could you ask for? I mean, it's truly the best value I hate to say this, but it's the best value in entertainment as a whole today. Like that.
I know you
that was
almost saying that.
Yeah, that was almost too close to sports entertainment for me. But let's face it, pro wrestling is a form of entertainment. We are within that genre, and there's no other thing that you can get entertainment-wise for $5. So, yeah. So come on, check us out, and have fun, watch the show, make noise, support your favorites. talk crap on the baddies, and
All that
good old fashioned pro wrestling. And so yeah, I guess that's it. And while I keep talking here, I would just like to take this time to thank everybody who supported Dojo Wars in 2016, and thank everybody who will continue to support us going into 2017 and beyond. And I hope everybody has a happy, healthy, and prosperous holiday season and New Year. And well, I don't want to get too ahead of myself with the New Year, because I will see you on the 28th.
Yeah,
hopefully.
But we're almost there.
Yeah, Hanukkah's kicking off on Christmas Eve, and Christmas, of course, is the next day. So it's a very happening holiday season here. So let's make the most of it. Happy, healthy, joyous, prosperous, and above all else, the enjoyment of the professional wrestling and the community in which we're all in together. Fans, wrestlers, promoters, matchmakers, commentators, announcers, ring crew, cameramen,
in between, yeah.
Everything. It's all one giant community that we're all a part of. It's an extension of actual family. In some people, it's actually more of a family than a real family.
You can't believe it.
So, hey, let's make the most of it while we have this wonderful thing that we call professional wrestling, and focus on the positives, and whatever negatives might be out there, whatever saltiness might be out there, forget it. This is the greatest thing that we have in the world, and we're all able to enjoy it in different ways. So let's continue to do that. Let the bitterness go aside. Let's be happy and enjoy this wonderful thing that we have called professional wrestling.
I couldn't agree more, Emil. All right, we're going to get out of here for today, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, thumbs up, all that good shit. And we will see you back next time. Have a good day, everybody.